This white shirt costs about $10 to make. But the 10 inches of fabric across its chest might be the most expensive advertising space on Earth. Nike and Adidas have spent $500 million fighting over it, and neither of them expects to make that money back. At least not by selling shirts. To understand this war, you need to visit a small town in Germany, Herzogenaurach. Population, 23,000. Rivers, 1. Global sportswear empires, 2. In the 1920s, two brothers made sports shoes here. Adidas was the quiet craftsman. Rudolf was the loud salesman. It worked, right up until it didn't. The brothers fell out so badly that in 1948 they split the company, the staff, and the town. Adi named his half Adidas. Rudolf's became Puma. They built rival factories on opposite banks of the river. Locals checked your shoes before deciding whether to talk to you. Herzogenaurach became the town of bent necks. In 1954, West Germany reached the World Cup final against Hungary, the greatest team on earth. Nobody gave the Germans a chance. Then it rained. Adi Dassler's new screw-in studs gripped the mud. Germany won 3-2, and the miracle of Bern made Adidas a national icon overnight. From that day, the German national team wore 3 stripes, not for 1 deal or 10, for 70 years. Adidas wasn't Germany's sponsor, it was part of the flag. Meanwhile, in Oregon, a company that sold running shoes out of a car trunk was growing into a giant. Nike owned basketball, Nike owned running. But football, the world's game, belonged to the Germans. Then in 1994, the World Cup came to America. Nike executives watched 1 billion people tune in to a sport they'd basically ignored. You can guess what happened next. Nike didn't tiptoe in. In 1996, it went straight for the crown jewels. Brazil, the most famous football nation on the planet. The price? $160 million over 10 years. The biggest sponsorship deal in football history. It wasn't a contract, it was a declaration of war. So, what exactly were they fighting over? Let's open up a kit deal. When a brand sponsors a national team, it pays the Football Federation an annual fee for one right, to be the only name on every shirt, short, and sock the team wears. The fee is just the start. The brand also supplies everything. Thousands of kits for every squad, from the World Cup team down to the under-15s. These deals are auctions. Federations invite bids, brands slide envelopes across the table, and the numbers have gone vertical. England, about $40 million a year. France, over 50. Brazil's deal with Nike has been worth up to $100 million a year. $100 million every year, for a decade or more, for the right to put a logo on a shirt. Now, on paper, this looks like a brilliant business. Follow the shirt. A replica jersey costs roughly $10 to make in a factory in Asia. It sells for $150 in a store in Berlin, London, or Rio. A 15x markup. The tortoise here sells lemonade at a 2x markup and thought he was doing well. But that $140 of margin isn't the brand's. The store keeps about half. The Federation takes a royalty. Factories, shipping, taxes, marketing, all bite. By the time everyone's fed, the brand clears maybe $15 to $20 per shirt. So, pay $100 million a year, earn $20 a shirt. That's 5 million jerseys, every single year, just to break even. How many does a top team actually sell? In a normal year, a few 100,000. In a World Cup year, maybe 1 or 2 million. The best case in history, Germany 2014. They won the World Cup, and Adidas sold over 3 million jerseys, an all-time record. Run the math on that record year, roughly $60 million back on a fee of about 50. Barely break even, in the best year ever. And World Cups only happen every 4 years. In the 3 seasons in between, Jersey sales fall off a cliff. Add it all up over a full contract, and the shirt business alone doesn't come close to covering the fee. Which means the two smartest sportswear companies on earth are knowingly, deliberately, losing money on every deal. Unless the shirts were never the point. Here's what the shirt actually buys. 90 minutes of the world's undivided attention. 1.5 billion people watch the last World Cup final. No TV ad, no billboard, no app can put your brand in front of that many human beings at once. And unlike an ad, nobody skips it. The shirt is on screen for every goal, every replay, every poster, every sticker album, every school playground. That visibility sells everything else. The kid who wears the jersey asks for the boots. The boots come with sneakers, tracksuits, gym bags. Football sits at the front door of a global sportswear market worth around $400 billion a year. The jersey is the doorbell. That's why the same two brands also carve up the superstars. Messi wears 3 stripes for life. Ronaldo signed with Nike, reportedly for up to $1 billion. But there's a second reason to pay crazy money, and it's the darker one. Every team you sign is a team your rival can't have. There are only a handful of giant football nations: Brazil, Germany, France, England, Argentina, Spain. Lock them up, and your competitor has nowhere left to stand. This is the lockout. You don't bid $100 million because the shirt is worth it to you. You bid it because losing the shirt cost your rival even more. And so began decades of corporate trench warfare. In 2011, Nike snatched France from Adidas. After Adidas had dressed Les Bleus for 40 years, Nike kept circling the biggest prize of all: Germany. In 2007, it reportedly offered to double Adidas's fee. The federation didn't even open the door. Some things weren't for sale. Then, in March 2024, a press release. Starting in 2027, the German national team will be dressed by Nike. 70 years of history outbid. Nike's offer, reportedly around 100 million euros a year, roughly double what Adidas was paying. Germany's own government called it unpatriotic. The federation shrugged. We needed the money. And if you think that's brutal, look at what happens to the mid-sized brands that try to sit at this table. Umbro dressed England for decades. Umbro stretched itself to keep up, wobbled, and got swallowed. Bought by Nike in 2008, gutted, and sold for parts 4 years later. The table has a minimum buy-in, and it's ruthless. So where does the war stand today? Count the shirts at this World Cup. 48 teams. Adidas dressed 14, Nike 12, Puma 11. 2 companies control more than half of the World Cup on their own. And the further down the list you go, the smaller the money gets, fast. New Balance, Castore, Macron. Smaller brands do exist here, picking up the nations the giants ignore. What they never get is a seat at the top table. Now ask, why doesn't anyone new enter? The answer is the moat. To compete for a top nation, you'd need $100 million a year for 10 years paid up front. Before you sell a single shirt. You'd need factories that can flood every store on earth with jerseys the morning after a final. Nike and Adidas already have them. You don't. That's 2 moats stacked on top of each other. A barrier to entry made of cash, and scale efficiency made of factories, logistics, and relationships. And here's the twisted genius. Overpaying is the strategy. Every euro Adidas burns on Germany is a euro Nike must burn to answer. And both can afford the fire. A challenger can't. The war itself is the wall. The louder the bidding, the higher the buy-in, the safer the duopoly. They're not just fighting each other. Together accidentally, they're fencing out everyone else. You'll find this pattern far beyond football. 2 or 3 giants overspending in plain sight in markets nobody knew ever seems to crack. Streaming wars, cloud computing, soda. The battle looks wasteful until you realize the waste is the point. It keeps the table too expensive to join. Back in Herzogenaurach, the river still runs between the 2 factories. The brothers died without reconciling, buried at opposite ends of the same cemetery. Their family feud grew into a $500 million war, watched by billions, fought over inches of fabric. So next time you watch a World Cup, look at the chest of the shirt. You're not just watching a game, you're watching the most expensive staring contest on Earth. This video is sponsored by Moat. Everything we just covered, barriers to entry, scale, cash flow weaponized as a moat, is simple in theory. Actually finding those companies, that's the hard part. That's exactly what Moat is built for. It rates thousands of stocks on the two things that matter most: how strong the moat is and how much you'd pay for it. Quality times valuation on one simple scorecard, so you can spot the widening moats that are actually trading at a fair price. Check out Moat at the link below and go find your next compounder.